So we will study about the narrow spectrum beta lactamase resistant penicillins today, and the narrow spectrum beta lactamase resistant penicillins. So the chemical, so this includes the several synthetic and semi-synthetic antibiotics, especially produced by the chemical modification of the penicillin nucleus. Penicillin nucleus is the one which is containing the thiazolidine ring and beta-lactam ring. And the chemical modification hinders the access of the beta-lactamase enzyme produced by the resistant gram-positive microorganisms. Especially this is related to the Staph aureus microorganism, which is inactivated by this group of the enzymes. And these synthetic penicillins include the methicillin, neficillin, and some isoxazoline penicillins such as the cloxacillin, oxacillin, and dicloxacillin. And another thing is the flucloxacillin. These are all the semi-synthetic penicillins. So the antibacterial spectrum of these semi-synthetic antibiotic is generally similar to the regular natural penicillin G, but they are less active against many gram-positive bacteria, but almost inactive against the most of the gram-negative bacteria. Only advantage of these agents is they are the beta-lactamase resistance. So their use is restricted in the treatment of, it's caused by the penicillinase producing microorganisms. So they need to be very specific, especially the treatment and particularly the staphylococci. So complete cross resistance exists between the penicillins, regular penicillins, and these drugs. So the first drug is the isoxazoline penicillin, and that is the cloxacillin. So cloxacillin is a semi-synthetic penicillinase resistant narrow spectrum penicillin. So it's effective only against gram-positive bacteria. That's also the beta-lactamase resistant bacteria. So it has been the isoxazoline side chain it will have, and it is acid resistant. So orally this cloxacillin can be given. So it is available as cloxacillin sodium. So it is water soluble, and also another compound, that is the cloxacillin benzathine. Whereas this is not so water soluble. So the antibacterial spectrum of these drugs is similar to that of the penicillin G, but in addition, it is active against the penicillinase producing staphylococci, especially penicillin G, what you call as the potassium. So in general, the antibacterial spectrum is narrower than that of the penicillin, and and also it is less active against the penicillin G sensitive microorganisms. And the cloxacillin and other isoxazoline penicillins are generally called as anti-staphylococcus penicillins. So if any anti-staphylococcal isoxazoline penicillin, the number one agent, the example should be given is the cloxacillin. So cloxacillin is also very commonly used in veterinary practice for intramammary preparations, and also sometimes the amoxicillin and cloxacillin. This combination is used. So these are called as anti-staphylococcus penicillins, and some strain of the staphylococcus have now become resistant to these antibiotics also. And coming to the pharmacokinetic property in a very, very brief about this cloxacillin. So imagine that the cloxacillin you are administering to a cattle and or the dog, and it is resistant to the gastric acid inactivation, but it is still incompletely absorbed from the gastrointestinal tract. So the bioavailability after the oral administration varies from the 30% to 60%, and if given with food, both rate and extent are absorbed are decreased. So food hinders the absorption of cloxacillin. and it is highly plasma protein bound, means 90% of the drug is plasma protein bound. And elimination of unchanged drug metabolites occur active and it's causing to be metabolized in both active and inactive metabolites. So elimination of unchanged drug and metabolites occur primarily by kidneys and very small portion through the bile. So the half-life is 30 minutes in dogs, and side effects are very similar to that of the all other drug like the penicillin G, etc. So the purpose of the cloxacillin in veterinary practice is used in the skin, bone, and soft tissue infections, especially the septicemia caused by the Staphylococcus penicillin resistant Staphylococcus, which are causing the mastitis. So it is also incorporated in the ophthalmic preparations, especially in the susceptible microorganisms. It is widely used in case of the bovine mastitis. Of course, now the resistance has been developed to cloxacillin also. So the cloxacillin sodium is used mainly, especially in case of mastitis drug, and especially during dry period, cloxacillin is very much prepared because the dry cow therapy, especially after 7 months of the pregnancy, the cow is made dry. So at that time, you need to infuse these tubes intra-mammary, especially intra-mammary tubes are very much designed for administering intra-mammary, especially during the summer mastitis or during the dry period only, or else they are not the therapeutic agents. They prevent. For systemic infections, especially 20 to 40 milligrams in small animals, whereas 200 milligram per quarter as intramammary preparations. And dry cows, 500 milligram per quarter, especially the last milking. After last milking, we should infuse these tubes and leave apart the cow. And the oxacillin is another isoxazoline penicillin, very similar to that of the what you call as the cloxacillin. All the things are very limited to cloxacillin. So it's also oxacillin is used as a intramammary and ophthalmic preparations, and only advantage is it is little bit potent. And as usual, the dosage is also very similar to that of the cloxacillin, 20 to 40 milligram in case of dogs and cats orally, and horses IM or IV, same dose. So the dicloxacillin, it's also another semi-synthetic isoxazoline penicillin with antibacterial and other actions very similar to that of the Cloxa, the first drug in this category. It is active against the staph, and the cloxacillin and oxacillin is reserved for the treatment of the severe staphylococcus, especially the mastitis caused by beta-lactamase producing microorganisms. That's the thing to be discussed here. Then the dose is 10 to 25 milligram per kg body weight, especially in case of the dogs and cats. Then flucloxacillin, or it's also known as floxacillin. So the floxacillin is the penicillin resistant isoxazoline penicillin. It's a penicillin resistant, usually used clinically for severe penicillinase resistant staph or the staphylococcus. So it is better absorbed from the GI tract when compared to the floxacillin, and best it is a good for oral administration to the animals. So the dose is in this same range, 15 milligram. So you need to remember the dose, especially the cloxacillin. If you remember, then you can fix the same dosage range, especially to all the same drug. Whereas the non-isoxazoline penicillins are the methicillin. So methicillin is important because if the microorganisms are resistant to this, then we need to use some other antibiotics. And methicillin is water-soluble penicillinase resistant semi-synthetic penicillin. So it is mainly used for the, especially used for the penicillinase resistant staph infections. So although methicillin is highly resistant to the penicillinase and has been recommended against many staph infections and some species of the Staphylococcus, particularly Staph aureus. So Staphylococcus aureus, remember that the Staphylococcus aureus is causing the mastitis very commonly and have become resistant to almost all the antimicrobial drug, including some methicillin also, and by non-penicillinase mechanisms. So the resistance has come due to the change in the mechanism of action by the bacteria. And these methicillin resistant Staph aureus, they are called as the MRSA, methicillin resistant Staph aureus strains have become a serious problem, especially in some, as they are insensitive to all the penicillinase resistant penicillins and to the other beta-lactam antibiotics. So penicillin or all the beta-lactam antibiotics, including the cephalosporins, they are resistant to the particular microorganism, that's the Staph aureus, and also the erythromycin, aminoglycoside, and tetracycline. So please remember that the organisms, Staph organisms, which are methicillin resistant, are become the resistant to the all penicillinase resistant penicillins and to beta-lactam antibiotics, as well as the aminoglycosides, erythromycin, and tetracycline. So such MRSA organisms have altered the protein binding site, penicillin binding sites, penicillin binding protein site. So they will alter and do not bind to the penicillins. So these MRSA are, however, susceptible to the vancomycin and fluoroquinolones. So in these conditions, the vancomycin and fluoroquinolones can be used. So methicillin is destroyed by gastric acid. So it is given parenterally by IM or IV injection, and peak plasma concentration is reached 30 minutes. This is applicable for all the penicillin derivatives. So it's going to cause a good concentration in the central nervous system. Then it is primarily excreted via urine, but also found in the bile and other body secretions. So the methicillin is usually well tolerated after potential administration. So, but there will be a pain at the site of injection, and it is a penicillinase resistant antibiotic. It is also a strong inducer of penicillinase in susceptible microorganism. So induction of the penicillinase enzyme is also another mode of the bacterial resistance. So if it comes in contact with the bacterial cell wall, then the penicillinase will released. So nowadays the methicillin is rarely used due to the limitation, that is the induction of penicillin and penicillinase and production of the MRSA is nowadays it's a very common phenomenon. So because of this thing, many vets are using the recent generation antimicrobial agents. Then nafcillin, so it's a penicillinase resistant penicillin, mainly used against the infections caused by the penicillinase producing strains of Staph aureus. So it is inactivated to a variable degree by the gastric acid. So oral absorption is not possible. Then it is similar to methicillin. It crosses the central nervous system. Then it is excreted in the urine and also bile to an appreciable amount. And naphthalene is mostly used in the parenteral route because orally it is not absorbed properly, and since in the parenteral route only is it is applicable. So the dose is 10 milligram per orally or IM, that is 4 times a daily. So this is the naphthalene. So the advantage of this drug is penicillin is producing Staph aureus. So the temocillin is a penicillinase resistant penicillin, but it differs from other members of the group being inactivated only against the gram-negative bacteria. So it is effective against the gram-negative bacteria. So the broad spectrum penicillins are will be discussed in this category. So what are the broad spectrum penicillins? So they include both semi-synthetic penicillins and their precursors that are active against many gram-negative and gram-positive bacteria. So including non-beta-lactamase producing strains, especially the Enterobacteriaceae family, that's the E. coli, and they are all destroyed by the beta-lactamase produced by varieties of the bacteria. And many members of the group are actually acid stable and are administered either orally or the parenterally. They are administered broad spectrum penicillins. So the general property is like this, and we will see the individual penicillins. So number one is the aminopenicillin, that is ampicillin. So it is also a amino benzyl penicillin, is semi-synthetic penicillin having the amino substitute at the side chain. That's why it's called as the amino benzyl penicillin. So it is very widely used as a broad spectrum penicillin in human and veterinary medicine for a variety of the disease. So it is commercially available as penicillin anhydrase, ampicillin sodium, then the ampicillium trihydrate, like this, the salts are available. The penicillin anhydrase or trihydrate salts are less soluble in water, whereas the ampicillin is very much soluble in case of water and other aqueous solutions. So that's why the distilled water is given along with the amoxicillin, and all types of the ampicillin require reconstitution with water before administration. No ready-to-use preparations are available. And depot oil-based ampicillin preparations are also available that include the aluminum monostearate of the penicillin formations. Then antibacterial spectrum, the ampicillin is a broad spectrum antibiotic that is active against many strains of the gram-negative aerobes, not covered by either penicillin G or penicillinase resistant penicillins. And these include most Staphylococcus non-penicillinase producing, that's also the Staphylococcus, then the Corynebacterium, Clostridium, and also E. coli, Proteus, Haemophilus, Salmonella, then also Klebsiella, etc., Brucella, and Pasteurella. So it is having the very broad spectrum. And organisms that are not susceptible to ampicillin, means in such disease you should not use the ampicillin. Like the Pseudomonas, it is not effective, whereas the anti-Pseudomonas drugs are separate class. And also so the Serratia, Enterobacteriaceae, and the Acinetobacter. So all these are resistant, and it is activity against gram-positive cocci is less than the penicillin. Actually, penicillin is superior. So like the natural penicillins, aminopenicillins are susceptible to be inactivated by the beta-lactamase producing bacteria. So this is one of the disadvantage of the aminopenicillins. They are destroyed by the beta-lactamase enzyme, which is produced by the bacteria. And almost all the Staphylococcus and some other strains of the bacteria have been developed now resistance to ampicillin. So the thing what the authors are emphasizing is the penicillin, especially among the beta lactams, the ampicillin has developed, the bacteria have developed the resistance against the ampicillin is concerned. Then this is the structure of the isoxazoline penicillin. This is the oxacillin, then the cloxacillin. So structure you can see that the isoxazoline penicillins, a benzene ring is present here with chloride moiety. So then also dicloxacillin, which is very similar to that of the structure, is very similar to that of the cloxacillin. And flucloxacillin is also belonging to the isoxazolyl penicillins. So, whereas the non-isoxazolyl penicillins, so here there is a change in the structure. You can see that difference is OCH3 is there, whereas it is not having anything. Whereas the oxacillin and cloxacillin, one chloride moiety is more here, especially in case of oxacillin. Whereas the non-isoxazolyl penicillins will not have the structure, especially only benzene ring is there. Here the OCH3 or methoxy group is also present. So ethoxy group is present, OC2H5, especially in case of the naphthalene, whereas timoxylin will have the different structure when compared to the both other non-isoxazoline penicillins. And coming to the general pharmacokinetic of these agents is the ampicillin is stable in gastric acid and is relatively well absorbed after oral administration. So the presence of the food decreases the rate and extent of peak plasma levels that may be attained in the 2 hours, and the drug remains detectable in plasma about 6 hours. So it will be present in plasma for 6 hours. So the parenteral administration gives better absorption with peak plasma concentration, which will be reached in 1 hour. The trihydrate parenteral dosage form gives slower and lesser peak plasma concentration than some dose of the sodium salt. So this is also important. The parenteral administration will give better absorption when compared to the other routes. So after absorption, the ampicillin is widely distributed to many tissues, especially like other penicillins, entry of ampicillin to CNS is restricted by BBB, and it will not cross the blood-brain barrier unless there is a damaged this endothelial cells. So about 20% of the dose is plasma protein bound, and mainly it is bound to the albumin drug. So ampicillin is metabolite to some of the metabolites, especially in the liver, like the penicilloic acid. And most of the ampicillin is excreted unchanged merely in urine. So it becomes the drug of choice, especially in the susceptible microorganism causing the cystitis. It is also excreted in bile to an appropriate concentration. So its elimination half-life in dog and cat is 45 to 80 minutes. And there is a change in the pig, that is, it's 1 hour. So we can consider it as the same. Then the clinical use, why ampicillin is used. Why you should prescribe ampicillin to some domestic animals is, it is used for the microorganisms which are causing some of the diseases. So it is enteritis, mastitis, metritis, then septicemia, pneumonia, and other respiratory tract infections. Especially it is useful for the respiratory tract infections. Then it is also used for the treatment of the secondary bacterial infections, especially the skin bacteria. And once again, the bacteria skin which are causing the dermatitis are the Staph aureus only with different species. So in animals, it is more commonly used in the especially parenteral injections. So if what happens, one of the disadvantage is if it is used orally, that should be the animal should be fasted and for at least 1 hour before the food is given. So when given in food, ampicillin produces high incidences of GI side effects like diarrhea. So please remember that whenever the doctor prescribes you the ampicillin, always it will be prescribed with the yeast or some of the bacteria, because this is going to cause the total or the 90% destruction of the gastric microflora, and because of this thing uh, the diarrhea occurs recurrently, because the intestinal microflora will be changed. That's why the amoxicillin is used over the ampicillin. And the dose of this drug, especially dogs and cats, is 10 to 20 milligram for orally. So you please remember the dose range is in the range of 10 to 20 milligram. What you can remember, the cloxacillin, the ampicillin, etc. They have got the same dosage. Whereas the cattle and sheep, it is IM need to be given 5 to 10 milligram. So it's also used as the depot preparations once in 2 days can be given, and the birds it is used as 1.65 grams per liter of the drinking water. So next drug is the amoxicillin. So the amoxicillin, so please say the spelling, it is also written as AMOXY. Also it is another aminopenicillin. It is very similar to that of the ampicillin, but it's twice well absorbed when given orally. Only thing advantage is it is absorbed orally properly and produces high blood and tissue levels. So unlike the ampicillin presence of food in GI tract, it does not significantly affect the absorption. So the food will not hinder the absorption of the amoxicillin. So in presence of food also it can be given after the lunch. It is or the dinner to the human beings, and after food it can be administered. So like ampicillin, amoxicillin is widely distributed in the body, and it is the drug of choice, especially in case of the joint infections. Please remember that in case of cows, just after the birth, they develop the joint infection, and which is caused by some of the enterobacteriaceae microorganisms, and this penetrates in the purulent and mucoid bronchial secretions and more efficiently than ampicillin. So it is excreted into the urine and bile. So the elimination half-life, as usual, is 60 to 90 minutes. So the incidences of the GI disturbance, especially in case of amoxicillin, is very, very less when compared to the ampicillin, because amoxicillin is not going to kill the intestinal or required microorganisms by the specific mechanism. It is indicated for the uses as the ampicillin is used. So it is amoxicillin trihydrate salt is available, and also the depot preparations. It is available as orally oily vehicles, and also they are available. Whereas it requires less frequent dosing. And dose is same to that of the ampicillin, 10 to 20 milligram. That's orally or subcutaneously twice a day. And little bit average dose is used as the depot preparation. So cattle and sheep, of course, the range is 5 to 10 milligram IM or SC once daily. About 5 days it needs to be given. Of course, the depot preparations are also available, and the dose is 15 milligram per kg, and once in 2 days you can administer. So such the preparations are very important in veterinary practice, because you cannot make the animal every day to come to hospital, and the everyday injection is very difficult. So once in 2 days, the owner may afford, and many times it is practical also. So such preparations are required for us. And the horses 20 milligram per kg, IM 2 times a daily. Swines also the half of this dose once a daily. And so there are certain second category is the ampicillin precursor or ampicillin penicillin prodrugs, or the hetacillin is a ampicillin prodrug. So it is prepared by the reaction of ampicillin with acetone. So if you chemically make the acetone to react with that of the ampicillin, then the hetacillin will be formed. So on oral administration, it is better absorbed than the ampicillin, and its body is converted to ampicillin and acetone. So two moieties it is converted, and thus antibacterial action is exerted by the ampicillin. So it's a ampicillin precursor. Hetacillin is an ampicillin precursor. In the body, it is broken down to ampicillin and the acetone. So the dose is very in the same range of that of the ampicillin, that is 10 to 40 milligram, 2 to 3 times a day. Becampicillin or becampicillin is another ampicillin prodrug that contains an ethoxy carbonyl isoxyl group as the substituent. So it is nearly completely absorbed from the GI tract and is then rapidly broken down into the ampicillin, that is the ampicillin. Whereas the spectrum of activity is very equivalent to that of the ampicillin, and it is only effective against the gram-positive bacteria. Whereas the puampicillin and telempiccillin are other prodrugs of the ampicillin that have improved oral absorption compared to the ampicillin. So the esters are also hydrolyzed in vivo to release the ampicillin. That's why both of these drugs, the becampicillin, puampicillin, and telempiccillin, are called as the ampicillin prodrug. Pro means before. So the kinetic pattern of the different drugs, what we have discussed is here. Puampicillin, this big line is the becampicillin, then this is puampicillin, then this is amoxicillin and ampicillin. So dotted line, the plasma concentration of the ampicillin will reach the, yes, it will not reach to the peak plasma when compared to the other penicillins like the becampicillin, puampicillin, and amoxicillin. So amoxicillin also we can see that such concentrations are attained very fast when compared to the ampicillin. Here, so the highest concentration will not be attained when compared to the other 3 drugs. So the sampling is here, the sampling interval is done, a different sample 0 to 2 to 0 to 4 and 6, 2, 4, 6 and 8 hours. So ultimately it is proved that the becampicillin and puampicillin are better absorbed or excreted, especially through the urine. And other antibiotics like mesalinam or the amidinopenicillins. So mesalinam or the amidocillin penicillin is a semi-synthetic penicillin, but the activity is less against the gram-positive bacteria than the gram-negative bacteria. So it is effective more than required in case of gram-positive bacteria, but the gram-negative bacteria are not affected. So the important microorganisms are the E. coli, Salmonella, Klebsiella, and Enterobacter species, and also it is effective against Pseudomonas. So because Pseudomonas is one of the toughest microorganism, and usually we require a anti-Pseudomonas drug only. And the mesalinam is highly susceptible to the beta-lactamase, and its tissue concentration are low. So the third category is the first, the narrow spectrum penicillins. So these are the extended spectrum penicillins, or they are also known as anti-pseudomonas penicillins. So these drugs are very specifically developed for the purpose of treating the Pseudomonas aeruginosa, that is resistant to almost all the antibiotics. So these drugs are ineffective against most strains of the Staph aureus and are susceptible to the beta lactamase breakdown. So in such condition, the extended spectrum penicillins are used. So here the important classification is carboxypenicillins. So the example of the carboxypenicillin is carbenicillin. So it's a disodium deoxybenzyl penicillin. So the category, especially these penicillins, extended spectrum penicillins, are there are two chloride moieties extra will be present on the ring. So the aminopenicillins against Staphylococcus, Klebsiella, and Listeria, it is less active than the aminopenicillins. So the carbenicillin, it is a broad range of antibacterial activity and is related mainly to the carboxy group substituted on alpha carbon and benzyl side chain. So there is a structure activity relationship between the other drug. So it is acid labile and is hydrolyzed by the enzyme penicillinase. So carboxylin is not absorbed orally, just like the cloxacillin, due to the rapid inactivation by the gastric acid, especially the hydrochloric acid. Hence, these acid-resistant tablets, gastric-coated tablets, are also used many times. The drug is given IV in very high doses because it requires high concentrations in the blood to achieve anti-pseudomonas activity. So if this is administered with that of the probenecid, which is a competitor with that of the penicillins, the action will be increased to a longer duration. So here the probenecid is an inert substance. It is not having any antimicrobial activity, but it is going to block the excretion of the penicillin, and the penicillins are retained in the body. So along with the carboxylin also, this drug is used. So as usual, the characteristic of the penicillin, it is excreted in the urine as such without any change, especially through renal tubular secretions. And the half-life of the carboxylin is about 1 hour in most of the species. So the carboxylin is specifically indicated for the treatment of the serious Pseudomonas or the proteus infections like the burns. So the carboxylin is a very drug, very much designed or tailored for the treatment of the burns, the urinary tract infections, and septicemia. So it is having the low therapeutic index, means the margin of safety is not so high. So margin of safety is narrow, means it is more toxic when compared to the other agents. So in higher doses, it may cause the neurotoxicity, just like that of the penicillin G. So the carboxylin contains the sufficient sodium. At high doses, the drug may provide an appreciable sodium load that may cause fluid retention in the body, and also it may cause the CHF, continuous use of this drug for days together or weeks together, then only it's going to cause such high side effects. Then hypokalemia is another problem, and also the non-reabsorbable anion, that's the carboxylin. So if it is presented to the renal nephron tissues, So carbenzylline is also reported to interfere with the platelet function, resulting in the spontaneous bleeding. So number one, it is going to cause CHF by retaining the fluid, and it is going to cause the reported to cause the impairment in the renal functions. So due to the above said limitations, other anti-pseudomonas drugs like the piperacillin are preferred over carbamazepine, or carbamazepine is used in combination with aminoglycoside. So they should not be mixed in the same syringe due to the in vitro inactivation. So this is, they will have the drug interaction. So the carbamazepine and the amino varieties of the amino acids like gentamicin, etc. are used, but the same syringe should not be used. So the dose comes little higher, the range 55 to 110 milligram per kg 3 times. So this is the structure of the aminopenicillins. The why these are called as the amino means a amino group is present in this particular moiety, whereas the amoxicillin there is a very small change, especially in case of the amoxicillin and ampicillin. So it's also a amide solution, just one hydroxyl group is more here. So it makes the difference, especially this is orally active drug. Whereas the ampicillin, it is not absorbed properly orally because it interferes, its absorption is interfered with food. So some of the ampicillin precursors like the hetacillin, then the pivampicillin, becampicillin, and emampicillin. All these are ampicillin precursors or the other drugs. Then carbamazepine indanyl is another drug. So it is acid stable ester. That means you can also administer them orally. But it is rapidly hydrolyzed in vivo to the active drug carbamazepine. So carbamazepine indanyl may also called as the ampicillin prodrug, like same thing, that is the carbamazepine prodrug. So it is also effective orally, and it is rapidly absorbed from the intestine and provides peak plasma concentration within 1 hour of the administration. 1 hour. So it is within 1 hour of the administration, and the drug is rapidly excreted in the urine, and its use is restricted to UTI, especially pseudomonas and protease infections. So we need to do the culture and sensitivity of the urine, infected urine, then we have to select the antibiotic. So for the urinary tract infections, it is need to be given as 15 to 50 milligram per kg 3 times orally per day. And ticarcillin is another antibiotic, carboxypenicillin. So it's having all the properties very similar to that of the carbamazepine, but about 2 to 4 times more active against the Pseudomonas aeruginosa. Pseudomonas aeruginosa, it's effective. So the ticarcillin is can be used with the aminoglycosides for better efficacy, and it is not absorbed through the GI tract after oral dosing due to the, it is inactivated by the gastric HCl. Of course, now the acid, the medical devices are developed in such a way that the preparations will be made as enteric coated and the acid layer stable. So the excretion is through kidneys. Then probenecid can also be administered along with this particular drug. So this is very specifically indicated with the treatment of the Pseudomonas aeruginosa causing infections, and it will be used along with the aminoglycosides like gentamicin. So the ticarcillin is susceptible to beta-lactamase inactivation once again. So it's used in case of combination with the clavulanic acid, a beta-lactamase inhibitor. We are going to learn it later. So it's mainly used in the parenteral routes, especially the domestic animals, but also been approved for the intrauterine uses, especially in horses, in treatment of the metritis. So the dose is, as indicated here, 55 to 110 milligram per kg. So in birds, it is more, that is 200 milligram per kg. Always the dose of all the drugs is more because the DMR is very, very high, especially in case of the birds. That means the basal metabolic rate is high. And uridopenicillins or acyl uridopenicillins like the medlocillin. So this medlocillin is a semi-synthetic uridopenicillin. So it is against effective against the Pseudomonas aeruginosa and also the Klebsiella. So the uridopenicillins are effective against the Pseudomonas aeruginosa and they are superior to that of the carbenicillin. And it is also active against a large number of other gram-negative organisms, including the Enterobacteriaceae or the E. coli. So medlocillin and the other uridopenicillins are susceptible to beta-lactamase breakdown. Yes, of course, the uridopenicillins or acyl uridopenicillins like medlocillin, it is given parenterally for the infections, especially the. Then allocillin is semi-synthetic penicillin that is about 10 times. So please remember that this is 10 times more active than that of the carbenicillin against the Pseudomonas. So this is a very similar drug to that of the medlocillin. Then piperazine penicillins like piperacillin. So the activity is against the varieties of the susceptible microorganisms and also the PA or Pseudomonas aeruginosa and Klebsiella, which cause the urinary tract infections. So it is effective against the Enterobacteriaceae family and Bacteroides family. And they are resistant due to production of the beta-lactamases. So this is also not so susceptible. Especially it is mostly used in combination with the AGs or aminoglycosides or the tobramycin. It is used along with these drugs. So it is considered as neutropenic or immunocompromised patients like the HIV patients. So it is susceptible to lactamase enzymes. So it is used in combination with the beta-lactamase inhibitors like the tazobactam or clavulanic acid. And the dose is 25 to 50 milligram per cat IVIM or the subcutaneous route thrice a day. Whereas the potentiated penicillins they are also known as the beta-lactamase protected penicillins. So the potentiated penicillins are the combinations of beta-lactamase enzymes. So such combinations produce significant potentiative effect because the penicillin is protected by the beta-lactamase enzymes. So the combination products are also used to extend the spectrum of antimicrobial activity. So the first combination is amoxicillin and clavulanic acid, and it is also known as co-amoxiclav. So this is known as the co-amoxiclav. And the amoxicillin and the clavulanic acid, it's also called as the clavulanated potentiated penicillins or the co-amoxiclav with beta-lactamase inhibitor, the clavulanate potassium in the ratio of the 4:1. So this ratio is maintained. And this preparation is not destroyed by the gastric acid and can be given because the amoxicillin is better absorbed orally when compared to the other penicillins. and not destroyed by the beta-lactamase enzymes. And the clavulinate potassium potentiated amoxicillin has re-established antibacterial activity against the staph. Then the Staph aureus, E. coli, Proteus, Klebsiella, Salmonella, Shigella. So Salmonella and Shigella are gram-negative microorganisms, and the co-amoxiclav is still, however, not effective against the MRSA. And these are all the structures of the penicillins, like the carbanicillin. Then this is the ticarcillin. Then these are all the uridopenicillins like adlosilin and the meslocillin. And these are all the piperazine penicillin. So the structure activity is very similar to that of the piperazine ring. This ring is called as the piperazine ring. And the pharmacokinetic of this drug matches with that of the amoxicillin, and the combination is well absorbed after oral absorption. So this can be administered orally to the animals. The clavulanic acid is largely metabolized before excretion, while amoxicillin is excreted mainly unchanged through the kidney. The adverse effects of the combination are generally same for all the penicillins, especially the amoxicillin. So the human patients of few classes of the hepatotoxicity have been reported with the combination, and the co-amoxiclav is indicated, especially in case of small animals, for skin and soft tissue infections, like this urinary tract infection, then the biliary, then also the respiratory tract. And it is recommended for canine periodontal disease due to the susceptible bacteria. So the dose of this drug is 10 to 20 milligram per kg, especially in case of the dogs. And also in case of cows, that we can use as 5 to 10 milligram per kg, etc. And ampicillin sulbactam combination. So sulbactam is a semi-synthetic beta-lactamase inhibitor. It is a semi-synthetic, just like clavulanic acid. It is a beta-lactamase inhibitor. So it is usually combined with ampicillin and is administered parenterally. So the ampicillin sulbactam combination has a good activity against some of the ampicillin resistant strains of the Pasteurella species, which is causing the HS, especially in the cattle. So the combination has been used effectively in the treatment of the mixed anaerobic infections, aerobic and anaerobic, including those of the intra-abdominal surgical and skin and soft tissue infections, especially after this surgery, this is administered. So one of the disadvantages, the pain at site of the injection, and thrombophlebitis if it is IV administered, and diarrhea are commonly seen. These are all the adverse effects of the drug, especially in case of the human being. Then other potentiated penicillins, like they are very much available to the extended spectrum penicillins. So these include the ticarcillin, clavulanic acid combination, ticarcillin plus clavulanic, ticarcillin plus piperacillin, and the tazobactam. So tazobactam, the combination of the piperacillin plus tazobactam has the broadest antibacterial spectrum of the penicillins, the tazo. So the pharmacology of the clavulanic acid, sulbactam, the tazobactam is especially it is given in some other chapters, especially as a table. So the dose is used as the dogs and cats. It's 15 to 25 milligram per kg IV infusion. So in infusion, it should not be given IV also. IV infusion fluids, it need to be administered. So it is especially after surgery, this drug is used, tazobactam and the piperacillin. So this is about the penicillins, and in the coming classes, we will discuss about the cephalosporins, one of the important drugs concerned.